Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of 8 Ounces of Inspiration. And I'm so excited today because I have somebody I have been really wanting to get on this episode. I've met him socially and I've always admired all that I heard and read about him. So I'm very happy to share the journey and story today in our episode of Kush Beejal. Kush, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Nidhi. Thank you so much for hosting me.
So a little bit about Kush and his journey of evolution in his life and how he has inspired and he continues to inspire many children who come especially from rural areas, because his schooling began with a no-roof school in a small village in the state of Rajasthan. And from there, he pursued his academic rigor as well as passion and cracked the very renowned and very coveted IIT exam and was inducted to IIT Mumbai for chemical engineering. At IIT Mumbai, as he calls it, it was a life-changing experience for him because he not only excelled in academics, but he realized the latent talent he had for sports. And he really engaged into various kind of sporting activities for his own hostel, leading them to win the Sports General Championship, as well as being awarded the IIT Mumbai citation for the best outgoing office bearer. He took part in cross-country races and won them. He led the IIT Mumbai team in weightlifting across various inter-college sports events. And post that, he as usually how we move towards a higher studies, he decided to go for an MBA and pursue his passion for finance. And he cracked, not a surprise for the kind of intelligence he has, he cracked the CAT exam and got into IIM Calcutta, which gave him the perspective and the breadth and depth of knowledge that helped him prepare for his financial career. Post IIM Calcutta, he worked with investment banking and with corporates and moved to embark on his own entrepreneurial journey by laying the foundation for NeoStencil in 2014. Being in the edtech space, his company impacted millions of lives during the time when online education was still in very nascent stages. And what they did with NeoStencil was they created test preps for helping students study online to be able to pass and crack the government examinations. So, which allowed students to not move out of their homes or their cities and move to another city just to prepare for the exam, but they could do it at the click of a mouse at their own convenience and time. In 2020, NeoStencil was acquired by Unacademy, and from there, he continued to work with them in the M&A division. Now, Kush has moved again back to the entrepreneurial bandwagon, and he is working on his new idea. And so let's talk to Kush a little bit more about his new idea, what his journey as an entrepreneur has been, and what was it like at IIT Mumbai and IIT Kolkata. So Kush, my first question to you, right? The moment I read that you went to a school in a rural area and no roof school, and then, we read that, okay, IIT Mumbai this, I want to ask you this. Today, parents as well as children feel that if they don't land up in a great IB school or one of the top international or good schools, then their career won't be paved. They may not have a future, right? Your journey breaks all those molds because you are a living example of somebody. So what was it that allowed you to move from the no-roof village school to bring that academic rigor that you could compete in a world where children came from these top IB and CBSE and ICSE schools, be at par with them, rise above them, excel, and create that trajectory for yourself? Take us through that.
Thank you so much, Nidhi. Thank you so much for hosting me, and it's a pleasure to be on your podcast. Yeah, I started, with a humble background. My father was a government doctor, and his first job was in a very, very remote town in Rajasthan, where I had to attend, a school which had no roof. Uh, but if you look at the education, that was getting imparted there, it was not bad. It was not bad. There were teachers who were, taking you through mathematics and science and every concept that you can go through. And as being a transferable job from Karoli, we moved to Bikaner, then we moved to Udaipur, then to Jaipur. So that's how my schooling has been. Three years in these small towns, these towns. At all these towns, from Karoli to, let's say, Bikaner, I have found great teachers and great schools. And I see that the level of education in these schools is not like there is a one school will be at one out of 10 and other school will be 10 out of 10. There is not much difference. It's just about how you want to go about it, how you want to compete, how you want to consume the knowledge that is being imparted. And there are peers around you, who are there, and you are always aspiring to be the topper of the class, and you're looking at the seniors who have graduated in the class 12th and have entered into colleges like IITs and medical colleges. So it's all about you, whom you aspire to be, what kind of aspiration you take from, right? There are students who do all those avara gardis and in classes, in schools and outside. There are students who aspire to become those gundas and all. So it's just about what kind of aim you have in life. Do you want to be a good person? Do you want to be achiever? Right? And you figure out your journey. Schools are just a medium, where they give you the direction that, hey, this is why mathematics is helpful. This is why you should learn science. This is why moral science and history and geography of India is important. Right. And there is no, I don't see there is a big, I mean, if there is an IB school or a school in, let's say, Bikaner, I don't think there is a big difference, But yeah, you get so much exposure about, the kind of alumni these schools have, the kind of aspirations they set for the new generations, the younger kids, is that's what make the difference, I think. Right. And now, yeah, you're asking something.
I wanted to ask you, like, when you were that young, if you can look back and if you can just kind of reflect, did you at any point ever feel, you know, I mean, of course, you see your cousins, or maybe, there were those who were in bigger cities going to these fancier schools, so called, right? Like, and English speaking. And just was the
Yeah.
village school more Hindi oriented, right? Because
Yeah.
it's a,
Yeah.
yeah. At that time, did you ever feel ki yaar, mera kya hoga? They are getting such better opportunities than I did. That ever come across to you, or was it that you were driven ki I know what my path is, whether I'm in village, whether I'm in Mumbai, I know how I'm going to carve it.
I think, thankfully, at that point of time, we were not comparing as much as we do today. Today we are just comparing. We spend 90% of our times comparing with our friends and relatives and everything. At that point of time, life was very simple. We were just used to focus on our class itself. Your class mein kaun leading toppers, and how do I score marks in my class, particular class. Right. So that point of time, yeah, things were very simple, honestly. But today, yeah, I mean, there is a lot of competition, because of which somehow I think the productivity gets hampered. People, even the younger kids, the students, rather than learning the concepts, and enjoying their education, probably more time they spend around, he is going there and she is going there, and so basically it's all about social pressure and comparison. That is in the mind these times.
So your father, you mentioned, was a doctor in the government, right? Services.
Yeah.
So did it never occur to you that I should take the medical exam and move to the medical field? Why engineering?
Uh, Not really, So my father was a very, very supportive individual. I mean, he always supported me to take my own, direction. He never influenced or never had a say कि नहीं यही करना है. And I strongly believe कि the kind of open and flexible atmosphere we got at home probably helped us explore ourselves as an individual. Both my brother and me, we explored ourselves कि हमें आगे क्या करना है life में. And we were never bogged down by our peers. We were probably more focused on ourselves कि यार हमें अपने से better करना है. मतलब जो हमने last fifth class में we scored less marks, let's say in sixth class we have to score more marks, or in quarterlies, last quarterly we fared poorly, let's better the scores these times. So it was always about a race with ourselves. We probably was saved कि अगले से compare करने का. But yeah, I mean, my father and the atmosphere was very supportive. Once I had entered into engineering, my brother, he was probably more inclined towards medical science. But today, if you ask him, he would probably want to be an engineer. Because he's more into exploring new things and a technology enthusiast, and he said yeah, MBBS was not the right course for me. So yeah, I mean that's how
Did he go for
Sorry?
MBBS and then shifted, or what? Is he also an engineer?
No, Love is a MBBS. Love has done his MBBS from All India Institute of Medical Science, Delhi, and post that he did his MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. Was a technology head at NeoStencil. Then he is a startup founder himself in US, Denver.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So,
and he
I
is self.
already need to know, like, what's this DNA that runs in the family? Both the brothers, right? One gets to IIT Mumbai, the other one is in AIMS, which is one of the top colleges for medical sciences. So probably I should just ask you what your mother fed you when you were young, right? So more people can know that this is the recipe to getting these this kind of a mind. But okay, moving to IIT Mumbai. So everything that we hear about IIT, right, is almost fearful to me as a parent, or even as a student when I was, thinking what I'm going to do for my future, because there's this aura and this wall that if you go to IIT, my God, your life is finished. You're just studying, and there's so much pressure and there's competition and all of that. But when I read and I speak with you, you talk first thing about, like, I explored the sports side of me at IIT. And I did cross country and I did, weightlifting and all of this. So it's really a breath of fresh air to hear from somebody that, oh, they had a life beyond their books, and that to IIT Mumbai, which is supposed to be one of the more rigor ones. So I want to ask you, how was life at IIT? The balance between education and be able to do something else that you like, and what pointers can you give to aspirants today, right, who are aspiring to go to IIT? How can they really get the 100% or get a very good value in overall value, not just the academic value, but a holistic life from IIT, like you did?
Yeah, sure. So once I entered into class 9th, so we moved from Bikaner Boys School. I was in BBS from 5th to 8th. Then 9th to 12th, I was in Jaipur, Maheshwari Public School. This was the time when, we realized, okay, what IIT is, and I could realize कि हाँ, मतलब after schooling, you have to have a good college, which will set your rest of your life, which will give us a good benchmark wherein we can develop ourselves as an individual and professional and, take on this world, once we graduate. So entering into a good college, getting a good education at a college level, became very, very important that, yeah, this has to be done. Right? Schools do prepare you. They give you a basic knowledge around various subjects that, hey, these are the subjects, which will help you become a smart individual and a good human being. But colleges, they make you experts. They make you experts in certain fields of studies. That these are the certain fields of studies wherein you can add value to the society, right? So 9th to 12th became that serious that, okay, I have to learn and enter into good college to make a good career. After entering into IIT, I knew that, hey, the studies are done. I have entered into college, and I would not say this occurred to me myself. I was running around classes, in the first semester at IIT Bombay. I was running around classes, filling up assignments, and all that nervous kid, who's on the campus in the initial, couple of months. My senior stopped me and told me, Kush, relax. You have entered IIT. You don't have to worry about anything. Your life is set. Do what you want to do. Do what you want to do, and then tell me what you want to do. Well, so I told him, कि, yeah, Gaurav, his name was Gaurav Agarwal. He was also from Jaipur. I told him that I always wanted to be a sportsman because I always felt like being in the sports team and winning, so bola कि, do it. This is the place you do it. Don't run after grades. Your life is set. So that's how I started playing various sports, right from football to hockey to weightlifting. I also led my team, at inter-IITs and won medal championships for them. So playing sports was a very very crucial part of the individual I am today. I don't know. Playing sports give you that hunger to win. That attitude. That positive attitude. And I think that people who are good sportsmen, they stay away from probably the negative things. They always look at the positive things. They come across as a team member. They have compassion towards their teammates, and they want to grow together with their team, right? So it gave me that positive attitude, and I would say that playing sports is something which is very very important, for probably for any career. I would not say that for entrepreneurship, but for every career, playing sports is very important. So that's how my life started. Of course, I was managing grades also. It was not that I was just into sports and everything. So that's how I entered into and from playing into team to becoming the IIT Bombay sports secretary to winning the captain of the team to leading the hostel to sports championship, to winning the inter-IIT weightlifting championship after 6 years. IIT Bombay best of his bearers, all those gave me a very very positive confidence. And by the time I graduated, I was getting the number one jobs in my campus. And so that all confidence and then all positive attitude helped me excel in my career as well, I would say. Yeah.
So, which brings me to this, and I'm going to ask again, even though you answered it in your own way, that with sports, were you able to like get what students really like, who are only into books and they aim for a 4.0 GPA, and I don't know how it works at IIT, that kind of thing? Or you said that, I'm okay if I get a 3.5, as long as I have a more holistic growth in this, and I'm fine? Or was it that, look, I am going to do this, but I will get my 4.02? So how I balance my time now is what I'm going to work towards.
No, I sacrificed 4.0 totally. As I said, no, I don't need 4.0. And in the hindsight, and looking at my peers and seniors, I would say the guys who were at around 3.5 are probably more successful, relatively more successful than the 4.0 guys.
And then you said that you still landed up with some of the most premium jobs in campus,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
So it
Absolutely.
goes to say that it's not just the books or what you
Absolutely.
perform academically gets you, but maybe it's your personality that they see in your resume.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
And when somebody is recruiting you and you are out there in the world, to fight it out, all that matters is your confidence, your attitude. Your 4.0 or 10 out of 10 grades, don't matter, don't take you anywhere, right?
I totally get you. And, so I guess we can tell the aspirants who are, aspiring to study at IIT that when they get through, they need to listen to this podcast and remember that you've now gotten into IIT. The biggest hurdle is over. So now enjoy your time for 4 years, explore other things, along with your academics. You are with the best professors in the world, some of the best minds that you're working with. Maintain a good, but may not be just aspiring to 4.0, but a good as long as you can do other things also. So it's like building your social network, being a part of the music teams or the sports team, whatever, kind of enthusiasts you. And that also helps to, I think, somewhere bring balance and de-stress. Because sometimes when you're with the best brains in the world, it can just have stress because you're just like, oh my God, this is what I am handed and this is what I have to bring from my mind too, right?
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So from there, how did you know that it was, so you did engineering, chemical engineering. How did you discover your love for finance, and why wanting to go into MBA? Why not MS?
Sure. Yeah. So number one, and it's just not about IIT. Whether you've entered into any college, an IIT, or you have to figure out that, hey, boss, you have performed your best in your college entrance exams. You have landed this college. Now make the best of it, and think of what you will do 4 years down the line. Prepare yourself for that. Right? It's about that. Our education system, Nidhi, is flawed. When we enter into IIT, it's our ranks that helps you, that gives you the branch. I was not interested in chemical. No one knows chemical on day one, but because of your ranks and the choices you mark on the sheet, you get this branch and engineering branches. Right. And in the end, 95% people end up in IT or finance jobs from IITs. Right. So chemical engineering, I learned chemical engineering but I added no value to the chemical industry. Right. Thereafter. So that kind of education system, which gives you your field of specialization based on your rankings, not on your interest, is probably a waste of resources, and waste of time, for student and as well as for the system. So that's how the chemical engineering 4 years went by. I landed up, and I just like I got a chemical engineering basis my rank, basis the opportunity, I landed into finance. So even I did not know anything about finance, but I landed up a finance job in my final year. And which was like a A1 job, highest among the highest packages of that year. Then I entered into finance. It was a mortgage bank. It was a corporate US based corporate which was supporting the mortgage banks back then in 2005-6. I worked closely with those subprime mortgage guidelines, which led to the crash of 2009. So it was a very, very interesting job that I did in Mumbai itself. Then I explored my interest for finance. I mean, it helped me evaluate myself that finance is very interesting. Thank God I did not go into chemical engineering job or any IT job or anything. So finance, once I entered into finance, I learned finance and I really liked number crunching, and probably the monetary value attached to your finance. I mean, not the compensation part, but whatever you do at job helps you translate that effort into a monetary value of what kind of profit or loss it would make for your organization. So after working for 2 years in that financial sector, I realized my knowledge was more around practical. I'm not a thorough finance professional as yet. And working for 2 years in finance, I probably got bored that, hey, the job is not as exciting. College was more exciting where I could meet new friends, learn theory. So I thought, okay, I mean, my practical finance knowledge is not enough. It won't take me long. Let me just gain some theoretical knowledge around finance, and I wrote CAT. Fortunately entered into leading a B school, IIM Calcutta, and that's where I took more courses around finance and strategy. And after IIM Calcutta, I entered into a derivatives trading role where I was a derivatives trader for next 2.5, 3 years. Yeah.
Fantastic. Wow. And then came NeoStencil, right? And you
Before
embarked
that,
on knowledge
yeah.
journey.
Yeah, so after derivatives trading, I entered into another jobs. I worked with a rail car leasing company, which is North America's leading rail wagon leasing company, and they were looking to set up their shop in India. So I was the initial, second, third employee to join them and set up their business. But yeah, I mean, after working for these corporates and switching jobs, I realized job is probably not in me. Job is what probably I don't want to do for the rest of my life. And I took a plunge and started this my edtech venture, NeoStencil, with my brother, Love.
Wow, that's so wonderful. Two brothers working together, and you can actually be cohesive and bring it to a level without being on each other. So fantastic. So I want to ask you, of course, NeoStencil had a very strong ethos, right? And at a time when people weren't really used to online education,
Yeah.
that bringing that, the best of how do you prepare these test prep. So it brings convenience, it brings gives you that ability to do it at your own pace,
Flexibility.
from your home, and you don't have to go to another city and go through a lot of other ordeals, right? Even for parents.
Yeah.
I want to ask you something that did you take funding for NeoStencil?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we raised.
And it was how many years into the startup did you take funding?
So we raised 3 rounds. One was a seed round before for the product development. Then we took 2 more rounds of funding. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Now, when you were offered the acquisition, right? That Unacademy wanted to acquire the company. Now, a lot of first-time entrepreneurs, especially, they get very attached to the company, right? And sometimes they take the decision of not letting it go because they feel, no, I'll take it to another level, all of this. I want to ask you, how easy or difficult was it for you to take that decision that, yeah, it's time, if you're going to get acquired by an academy, let's do it. How was it? And were both of you in sync, both the founder, like your brother and you?
Yes, Nidhi. So Love was there with me for the initial 2 years. In 2017, Love decided to move back to US permanently, with his wife. So yeah, I mean, 2017 to 20, was probably, the time that, I used to run it out of Gurgaon, when we had multiple offices in Hyderabad and Jaipur and, the Mumbai, a small office in Mumbai as well. So yeah, 2020, when this offer came, COVID, it was in the mid of COVID, and probably we were in Gurgaon, and Unacademy and other edtech players were in Bangalore. And by this time, I thought that competition has already taken, a lot of, steps ahead, and it's better to merge hands and join, Gaurav and Roman. I had got offers, from them in the past also, since 2017. Gaurav and Roman had been in touch and, asking me to come and, merge hands and join together. Yeah, but I wanted to run it, on my own. But 2020, finally, when we saw that, hey, now there's no point, running 2 businesses together. And in the initial phases, Unacademy and NeoStencil were probably started differently. But by late 2020, both businesses had a lot of similarities. And it made sense to join hands and, work together to, create a bigger impact. So yeah, I took a call.
Fantastic. No, I'm so glad you took that call, because I think it's also very important. The time to market, the time to exit is one of the
Yeah.
most crucial points for an entrepreneur. And of
Yeah.
course, once an entrepreneur, always an entrepreneur. I
Yeah.
know it, and now I see it, that it's very hard for us to stay out of that ecosystem once we bit that, it's like that shark blood, right? Once we've tasted it and we want to just keep pursuing. So I see that you're working on a new idea. And of course, it's in stealth mode. So I will not ask you very many questions on it, but I will only wish you the very best. And I hope whatever you're doing creates a much larger impact into the lives of others who truly deserve opportunities, and a better, more convenient life, because entrepreneurs like you are the ones who can consciously make changes into our community and take it to the next level, a better life for everyone. Well, Kush, it's been such an engaging, and I've just loved every minute of this conversation and listening to you. And, I just feel joyous hearing that I've met a person who's come out of the top institutions of India, created such a wonderful career path and an entrepreneurial path for himself, seen success, and is such an inspirational role model for not just kids around, but for kids who actually don't have so many privileged opportunities like maybe our children have in the bigger cities, whose parents may not come from very educated backgrounds, but those kids aspire because they hear people like you, right? And they say, I want to be like him. And if he can do it, so can I. And that, the light that you ignite in their hearts when they hear you, I think you probably don't even realize, but how you impact their life is so phenomenal, right? So I'm so grateful to you, and I'm just so happy that I know you, and
Thanks, Ritu.
all the best to you. May you get success in everything that you ever aspire to do and touch the sky. Um, thank you, and we will see you very soon, maybe in the next few other episodes, once you have your new baby off the ground. Then we would love to hear more about what this idea is and what you plan to do with it and where you intend to take it. So we'd love to have you back. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Nidhi. Thank you so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.